Hello everybody, I'm back again today with a Transformer. I have wanted to make ever since I started making Transformers. I had intended on it ever since I started. I kind of hinted to it in the last video I made. But today, I'm here with LEGO Transformers Devastator. And this Devastator has all 9 of them. If you're thinking about getting the big toy, even though it's extremely old, don't do it. It's a waste of your money. It has 5 when there's supposed to be 9. But I guess you can kind of see them all in a group shot right now. So let's get into each one individually, starting with, we'll start with Mixmaster. So Mixmaster is this cement truck. There's not a whole lot to say about him. He's got windshield, 6 wheels, and this, which can actually spin on a ball joint. And so that, I'm sorry about the noise in the background if you can hear it, but that's Mixmaster. And then, continuing on with his main body, here is Scavenger. Now, he may be a little bit smaller than he should be, but you got your treads, you got a bucket that has 2 joints, nice little area. I used corner pieces for that. You've got your cockpit, I guess, and back. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. There is Scavenger, and then we also have, for the other red one, we have Overload. And he has 6 wheels as well, just kind of big, long, dumb truck. Kind of not symmetrical due to connection points, but that is what it is. Okay, now let's look at the arms. Why not? So the first one we have for the arms is Hightower. Hightower is a crane, obviously. This thing doesn't really, it sits in there pretty nicely, but it's not connected in. It just kind of rests between them, but it works. He's got treads. You can, adjust these a little bit. There's not a whole lot to these vehicle modes. But yeah, there is Hightower. And then what connects to Hightower? I actually don't remember his name. But this is like the hand part. I forget what he's called. I'm sorry, I do not remember what this guy is called. But yeah, here he is. He becomes the hand on Hightower's arm. And then we have Scrapper, I believe, who has the entire arm by himself. Looks pretty nice. Can go up and down there if you ever would need that. Sadly, he doesn't swivel there. Didn't really make that joint. But he also has robot arms with 2 joints there. And I think overall, he looks pretty nice. So there is Scrapper. Now we can get onto the other leg. Here we have, I believe this is, I'm blanking on his name too. Rampage. This is Rampage. Yeah, sorry. He's just a bulldozer. Not much to him. Nope, that broke. Got a ball joint there, so you can move that side to side a little bit, up and down. Not a whole lot to him. Yellow, black treads, gray bulldozer thing. Smokestack here, which looks nice. So there is him. And then the thigh, I believe this guy is called Payload. I don't think it's his official name. I think it's kind of fan-given. But he connects to Rampage. He has 3 visible studs on him, 2 back here and 1 up here, which is necessary. There's a couple of visible studs. You can see it on Overload right there on the top. And all these are just kind of necessary for him to transform. So that just is what it is. I still don't mind it. This guy literally doesn't do anything. He kind of just sits there. So that is Payload. And then I believe the 9th member of this would be Long Haul. Now Long Haul forms a dump truck with a cockpit here. Now the cockpit I'm supposed to be is like half of it, but that just didn't work with this guy. So you have Long Haul. Now I do like this figure because he can dump. He can do that, and you can also there's a double joint there, so you can make it look like that, which I kind of like. as if he's dumping, and then it can kind of, don't pop it off. But yeah, so he's actually a working dump truck. So, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, I'm kind of messing with my set and stuff, and so this is a little weird for me. I kind of have to reach my arms up far to get to him. But yeah, so here we have long haul. So I guess now we should get into size comparisons. Let's do size comparisons and with them all in the vehicle modes. I almost forgot that. So if I just get them in here quickly, hopefully they're all kind of in screen. This is actually really hard to get all in screen because my camera has to be upright, not sideways, which I might try to fix later. So there we have them all right there. And then we have a minifigure, which looks like I can sneak them in right there. And then in the background, I will put my old, or my, well, not my old, but my last creation, which is unnamed. So if you haven't already, you should go check out his video. Leave name suggestions in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated. So, getting these out of here. Now, we should get to transformation. So, moving all these to the sides, we'll do this similarly to how we did the last one. So we'll start with Mixmaster. Now, a lot of Transformers, especially Devastator Transformers out of Lego, especially ones this size, they just made the head separate. And, you know, it works for the people that did that, but I wanted to have my head actually turn into the cement truck. Now, I had to make a sacrifice for that, and that is the color. Either the cement truck was going to have to be red, or the head was going to have to be gray, because I couldn't invert the colors really in this small of a scale. So, I looked at it both ways, and I didn't like the red cement truck, so I went with a gray one, and a gray head, which I feel stands out a little more. You may not like that, and if you don't like that, you can either make a separate head, or you can just make two of the exact same figures, keep one as the head, and one as the cement truck. But I don't mind the gray head, I kind of like it, and I like the fact this guy actually transforms into the head. And so, yeah, he has a gray head, you may not like that, but I think it's worth it. You can make this cement truck red if you prefer that, and have his head red. But I went with this, so let's get into transforming him. So what you want to do is you want to bring the front down and bring them out. Okay, and then you want to rotate the wheels up, and then rotate these whole things like that. And there's kind of gaps there. That is going to be his eyes. And then these just come around and down. Come around and down. And the wheels, I almost imagine, kind of are teeth. But there you have him. You may not, like I said, you may not like it, but it's kind of Devastator resembling. You got the eyes on the side of the head right there as those gaps. Kind of the teeth. And you can make it, you know, really wide and stuff for his suction thing. It's really small, but I wanted to make sure his head actually transformed. So you may not like it. I do. It's a sacrifice I went with. If you want to build this, you know, you probably can figure out it's all pretty small. I don't know if I'm going to do instructions for them, but you can always build your own head that is separate or have him be red and gray. Like I said, that's all up to you. So that's Mixmaster out of the way. So now let's look at Scavenger. Now Scavenger is actually really simple, a lot simpler than most Scavengers I see. So what you want to do here is you want to start at his bucket. You want to rotate these each up respectively like that, and then just kind of collapse the bucket like that. Then you come to the back here and you split the back and you bring the arms out and you bring this flap up there, and you can probably guess that that will be connecting to Mixmaster. So that is actually all for Scavenger. He's fairly simple, and maybe he could be a little bigger. That's about it. I wish Scavenger was a little bigger, but this is just what works, so it's what I went with. So now we have Overload. Overload is extremely simple. You literally just take these and bring them out to the side as far as they can go. This wheel thing will hit, and then you have that. As you can tell, there's a circle there and there for connection, and that is your Overload. So now, going on to arms, we have the one guy whose name I cannot remember. Now, this guy is my most fragile. It used to be a long haul, but I redid him. So this guy is fragile and probably will break during the transformation. All the rest are really solid, and I'm just sorry about this guy, but let's try to get through it without him breaking. So what you want to do first is rotate the cockpit around, and then you take these things, and I like to squeeze them, this whole section, and this is why it breaks, is because that's tight, but I like to rotate it all the way there, and then take this one and rotate it all the way up, and that actually went fairly smooth. I mean, I know this fell off, but still. Okay, so that's back on. So now we have this. Then you take these pieces, rotate around. Same here, rotate this around. Okay, so now you have something like this. So then this comes up, rotates sideways. Oh, don't pop it off. Comes down, and this, well, that rotates like that. So then you have something that looks like that. Then what I do is I take these and I bend them again, kind of down, just not as far as they were. Oh, oops. But I kind of bring them down like that. Just like I said, not as far as they originally were. Let's go. Like I said, he's the fragile one. I mean, he's not fragile except for his transformation. Okay, now I'll put that back on because that fell off. There you go. And you see that can work just like that. And I dropped him. There, he broke, but that's just because I dropped him. So, putting him on. Let's get out of the way because he seems to not want to work. He's breaking. So, move him aside. And let's do what he connects to. So, high tower here will be put like this. Okay. This kind of falls to the side. That comes up. This I actually connect to here. There's a little stud on the back of the chain. I connect it there. And then, actually I forgot, I need to bring this up. Loop that around down there. And then connect that there. And rotate it so the chain part is facing up. Right there. And that comes up the rest of the way. And then these can come out. And then you can have that. And then they won't stay that way. That'll just make it easier later. So now here is high tower. Basically completely transformed. You just have to mess with these once you connect him. But yeah, there is high tower. Okay, so now moving on to the other arm. Scavenger, I believe. He is quite simple. You'd start with these back wheels and you fold them up. And he will be, you take this and you rotate it sideways and down. And then this upper section, you straighten it out and you rotate it back like that. And then squeeze it because it likes to almost try to pop off. So make sure that that doesn't happen. And then you simply, these are all held together by this. You just pop the front two off of it and have that. So then coming back to here, you move these forward and you move this back. And then you have that leg and hand done. So now we can move on to the legs. Well, the back legs. So Rampage right here. I mean, he's pretty self-explanatory. It's Rampage. So what he's going to do is, he's pretty easy to transform. Legs are pretty simple. Rotate these down. Rotate this one down. And then you'll want to bring this bucket up. And you'll want to have that forward. And I believe that way. We might have to rotate it the other way, but I believe that's the right way. That you rotate this whole center section. Okay, now let's go to payload. Payload is done. He doesn't transform. He just kind of is connecting things. And so yeah, payload's just payload. That's what he does. Okay, now getting on to long haul. Again, pretty simple. You just take him, you bring this down, you bring this out, and you rotate it sideways. And he's done. That's him. He's transformed. Yeah, simple. I know. So, now that they're all transformed, let's get to connecting them, yeah? Okay, so take Mixmaster and take Scavenger. There are 4 holes back there, 4 studs there. That just plugs in right there. And that, whoa, I guess that doesn't want to plug in right there. No, but plug that in securely. It should work. There you go. And then I like to move that down all the way, so it's tight against that. And then you have that forward. And Mixmaster is now connected to Scavenger. So, yay. Then we take Overload. He's got these 2 jumper plates, which if you look at the bottom here, they connect to just the very last 2 right there, giving you a look like that. Okay. And then I like to slide this whole thing down. There you go. There's that. Now there's the torso done. So now, this arm, we're not going to do anything with right now. We're going to connect this arm together. So what I have in here is the backside of a bracket that was hidden under the treads, and this connects to that like that. And then you just kind of get in there, squeeze it, kind of pinch it. Okay, and then you have that connected. So that's arm is done. So now let's connect the arms to the torso, which, as you can see right there, the arms can stand by themselves. When you connect them to the torso, it's going to be back heavy, but each arm can stand, each limb, I should say, has the ability to stand by itself. Oh, and he fell over as I say that. But still, yeah. So, to connect him, you just take him. There's a ball joint connection there, and that just goes on to the bottom of that. And then I like to bring this out and down all the way. Just kind of bring this down all the way, and so it hits that, and this just you kind of adjust this part of it. Now this side, you move on his other arm, you move these down so you can get underneath here, and there's the same kind of joint on this side of his arm, to which you will just, this is a little bit trickier, but you will just pinch that in, connect that, which is, there we go. And then you bring that all the way down and move that up. And then once you do that, you can get this chain out of the way, and you can pinch that up and pinch that up again all the way. So there you have the front of Devastator connected. Okay, so now let's connect Payload to Rampage. Payload and Rampage goes like that. Then this one jumper plate, or not the jumper plate, this section right here, these two, will go into the back part of the plow, gray to gray. You can think of it as gray to gray. It kind of color matches. And this kind of makes it want to pop off, but it still holds fairly well with 2 of them. It's just not exact, but it works. It definitely works. So there you have the legs. And to connect those to his body, what you're going to do is you're going to take this jumper plate, and this is getting tricky, so I'm doing my best here. Connect it to this hole that's back there, right there, to this jumper plate. So you do that. There you go. So there's that. On the other side, you have a hole right there on the outside. And you take the jumper plate that's right here and peg it onto the outside. Come on. There you go. You heard it click. And then this kind of goes out, so you just put that in all the way. And then all that's left is to move him back so you can see him well, and just fidget with him until you are happy with how all the limbs are on the ground and how he looks. And once you achieve that, which I believe now I am happy with, I will actually lower it and I'm going to lower the stand quickly and see if that makes it any better. So sorry for it being wobbly. I'm just trying to see what this does. Okay, I like that a little bit better. I don't know if you do, but we have Devastator complete. With his chain kind of going around his arm. There he is kind of from the side. I kind of would look at him from like an angle like that, or actually probably that side. I kind of like how that looks. You got his fingers, each individually on droid arms. His back leg, long pole on the ground. You can tell Rampage, Scavenger. This kind of gives the illusion of the back flaps he had. His head is actually on a ball joint, so that is very articulated, along with each of these being able to move. Ball joints right here, ball joints there. This can, rotate and do that. He's actually got a good amount of articulation, but he doesn't really do much more in the movie than just being this crawling shape. And this can move forward and back, this lower one. And again, ball joints up here in 2 spots. Back here, a little less articulation for those. But yeah, so there he is. I'm going to move him back to this because I kind of like how that looks. You can see his eye. I really like him. I'm happy, so happy with how he turned out. I wanted to make one of these ever since I started making Lego Transformers. So he is there. Now, I'm going to bring this camera back a little bit. And we're going to put a minifigure right there. So, it's not minifigure scale. He should be way bigger. But I'm still happy with him. And some of you may remember my first Transformer, who I do like better because each component, first of all, he's my own design. I didn't take him from a movie or anything. Each component does turn into a robot along with a limb and their own vehicle. So here is Tartarus. And you can see as they scale, it's kind of weird. Devastator is actually made out of more. Tartarus is made out of 5 components. Devastator is actually made out of 9. But being a crawler, Devastator doesn't look as tall, but is wider and longer. So Devastator actually is bigger. But there is the 2 combiners I have actually right next to each other. And neither of these will be taken apart probably ever. Definitely not anytime soon. So there is that. And then I might as well throw in he's still in vehicle mode, but my very first, well, not my first, but my last creation that I made. And throw the minifigure in there. So it's a very cluttered screen right now, but you can see all of them. How they stand right there. That looks like it looks. So, getting these all out of here. I don't believe I have much more to show on Devastator. Unlike Aeronobulus's 98s, he does not have a functioning vacuum, considering he is way, 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 way smaller than Aeronobulus. You know who I mean. Yeah, so I don't think there's much else really to show about him. Again, his head is red in the movie, but it turns into a gray cement truck. And at this scale, you gotta do one or the other. I like the gray. You can always go with the red. And he's actually really sturdy. I can pick him up, and he doesn't fall apart. He doesn't even really lose shape. So that's nice. That's really nice. So there he is. Put him down. I don't think there's much else for me to say. So, if you like this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It'd be greatly appreciated. Devastator has been something I've always wanted to make. I'm so happy I finally made him. He's came out better than I could have expected, except for maybe this one arm. And so, yeah, there's not a whole lot to them. So please like and subscribe if you haven't, like I said before. If you haven't checked out my other videos, like our video on this guy right here, go check that one out. He is an interesting little guy. Does not have a name yet, so I'll leave names and suggestions in the comments of his video. And yeah, I guess I will be signing off.